Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Friday, November 27th. This is your daily Buckeye fix. I'm Tom Orr. The Illinois game is tomorrow, and the game against Michigan is in 15 days, 2 weeks and 1 day away. Can you believe it? And it's Thanksgiving weekend, so I guess you probably could believe that the Michigan game would normally be tomorrow. So I guess that's not as crazy as it has sounded at other times during this season. And hopefully you did have a great Thanksgiving day yesterday. Now it is time to turn our attention to this weekend and some actual college football. And that schedule actually ramps up today with some pretty decent games. Iowa State, Texas today, Notre Dame, North Carolina. That's one that Ohio State fans are going to have a pretty clear rooting interest in. Would not be a bad thing for Ohio State if Notre Dame lost to North Carolina today. And Nebraska, Iowa is definitely an interesting one if nothing else. Buckeyes, of course, playing at Illinois tomorrow at noon, but there was a point on Wednesday afternoon since the last time we spoke when there was a little concern about whether that game was going to happen or not. So Buckeye Scoop beat reporter Tony Gerdeman is my guest this morning. Tony, what can you tell us about the news inside the Woody Hayes this week?
Yeah, there was a little bit of a run on some positive COVID tests that was certainly concerning just because anything over a couple will catch your eye. And so the rumors spread pretty quickly. And, we had sources telling us it was less than 10, and not all of it was players. And so, without getting into any specifics, it's certainly a concern because I guess maybe like mice in the house or something like that. The ones you could see, like then there are more possibly, and so the concern is stopping any spread, which is where this daily antigen tests come in. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to catch it early. You isolate those players that that test positive, and then you move from there. And the fact that even after these positive tests, they brought the team back to have a little bit of a practice on Wednesday and had another practice on Thursday, had a team meal on Thursday. So it feels contained at this point. Like as of right now, the game is on. So you have to be encouraged about that. But, Tom, as we know, no game is certain this year, and any day could be the day that a game gets canceled. And so Ohio State has, I guess, right about now, right of Friday morning is when they will be doing that final testing and finding out if there will be a game on Saturday.
Yeah, as of the point we're recording this on Thursday evening, the game is still on. We don't know what those tests are going to hold on Friday morning. They don't know what those tests are going to hold Friday morning. If everyone comes through clear and okay and negative, then that's great, and the game will be on. But, I mean, that was one of the questions that, as soon as stuff started kind of rumbling around on Wednesday afternoon, people started immediately asking, like, is this game in danger of not happening? And as you sort of mentioned there, like the answer, it's not particularly satisfying, but every game this year is in some danger of not happening. I mean, that is just how it is. And especially in the Big Ten, where there are some sort of hard and fast rules in place that if you're above these certain thresholds, you don't get to play. There have been games where teams have been below those thresholds and decided that they didn't want to play. So yes, every game is in danger of not playing. And, to me, that just seems like this is a good reminder to everyone, like nothing is guaranteed this year. There was a long period this week, this summer when everyone thought there was no Big Ten football. The decision will not be revisited, as the conference said. And, so now Ohio State has gotten to play 4 games. And, if they get to keep playing games, that's fantastic. That's a lot more than we all had a chance to any reasonable expectation of a couple months ago. So, maybe people should just do their very best to enjoy the ones that do happen and not lose too much sleep over the ones that may or may not.
And really, there's nothing you can do or I can do or any of the listeners can do to make sure the tests are negative Friday morning. So, by worrying about it or being concerned about it, you're not helping anybody and you're actually harming yourself. And so, yeah, it wouldn't be just a bad idea to collect yourself and just be thankful that we've gotten to see some games and hopeful that we will see more and should see more. And this is just part of the 2020 deal this season. And even with the basketball situation, Chris Holtman has tried to schedule as many games as he could, knowing that there are going to be games that are canceled. And so you try to operate as best you can, try to keep the team as collected and together as you can, and move forward and proceed. And then you just hope, pray. As Ryan Day said the morning of the test, he goes and takes a walk or takes a run because he can't just sit around waiting for those results. Although I would be surprised if he's there in center for all of the results on Friday just to make sure and know. But yeah, it's such a stressful time for everybody. And if this is the biggest stress for coaches, then maybe they're getting they can appreciate the fact that there are bigger things going on in the world. And if this is the roughest thing they have to go through, they'll be able to handle it.
Well, once Ryan Day gets through those tests on Friday morning, assuming that results come out as he wants to, then the next thing he needs to worry about is playing Illinois on Saturday, and doing so without a real normal week of practice. They, as you mentioned, they have kind of dialed things back. They had a sort of almost more of like a walkthrough on Wednesday, and then they put out some photos of their practice on Thursday, their Thanksgiving Day practice, and none of the pictures showed anyone wearing helmets or pads. It was very much like, again, like a walkthrough almost. So, if you've had 2 of your days of practice this week not be full bore practices, how much do you think that could impact the game on Saturday?
Well, and we know their typical Friday practice is the total walkthrough. And so you're talking about an Illinois offense that is second in the Big Ten in rushing. And they can be a physical team. They've got 2 physical running backs. And you're talking about an Ohio State defense that has been solid up front, that has been able to contain the run. But what happens with, almost an entire week of maybe not as much tackling? And really, I guess we should keep in mind that most of their tackling occurs on Tuesday, which predates this whole positive test blow up. And so, maybe it won't be a huge impact, but it's certainly something that if things go a little south for the Ohio State defense, it wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Day acknowledges, yeah, it was kind of difficult this week and trying to prepare for this. And so, yeah, I don't think it would be something that would cost them the game, but I think it's something that you could watch and be like, well, that might be part of not having like full bore practices this week, what I just saw there, and that missed tackle on Mike Epstein or this broken tackle there, kind of a sign that maybe things weren't as locked in or as physical as they normally are.
Yeah, this may be a week when the OSU defense gets graded on a little bit of a curve for that reason. But I mean, we came into this week thinking that the pass defense was going to be the big story this week, and it still might be on Saturday to some degree. Illinois quarterback Brandon Peters, he is a Michigan transfer, if that name sounds familiar. He looked pretty good last weekend against Nebraska. So how much pressure can he and the Illinois offense really put on this Ohio State defense this weekend?
Well, if there's some running game issues and they're getting some yards, then you add in the play action on that, and the play action can suck in the safeties, and the Ohio State safety situation hasn't really needed the play action to be sucked in. And so now you throw this in there, and that creates some issues. And they do have some good receivers. The Illini do with some size, and it'll be a good test for the corners. I'm still wondering, would we have seen somebody new at safety, and how much has the last few days of practice impacted that potential move? Maybe that has scrapped it completely, and now you've got to stick with Marcus Hooker because he knows the job, and this is another opportunity for him to succeed at it. But yeah, I wonder if that's been impacted. Just some of the stuff that they wanted to do, they realized, maybe now is not the best time because of just everything else going on.
Yeah, I mean, if they thought they had 3-4 days, worth of install time this week to get someone, either a new person or a new scheme kind of in place, maybe you didn't if 2 of those days are not really full days. So yeah, that has to be a little bit of a concern. So with all that said, and with the caveat that they may be getting graded on a little bit of a curve in terms of missed tackles, as we said earlier, what constitutes a successful game for the Ohio State defense this week? Do they have to not give up a 50-yard play? Do they have to hold Illinois under a certain number of points? Like, what, if you just know like one fact about Saturday's game, what would that be in order for you to say, okay, that was probably a pretty good day for the Ohio State defense?
Yeah, I think the big plays is what they want to eliminate right now, and that would be a good sign if they did it, because we've seen you don't have to be the best team in the world to have some big plays against Ohio State. And so now playing another not the best team in the world, if they can eliminate those big plays, then it would look like there is some progress going. So yeah, like no receptions over 30 yards, something like that, or 25 yards, maybe only a couple over 20. I think that would be a good sign, because if you do that, then you would assume there's going to be a limited number of points, because how often is Illinois going to be able to, 8-9 play drives against this Ohio State defense without, big chunks? And so if you eliminate those big plays, yeah, I think the Ohio State pass defense will look much better than they have. And I think that would be a successful outing if there's no 30-yard gains or anything like that. And really, Tom, in the past, where the comparison with 2018 and 2020, these defenses, like missed tackles hasn't led to big touchdowns. It's just been blown coverages. And so I think that is encouraging in that way. But we also don't want to start seeing some missed tackles in the secondary, because now you've got two issues back there. And, currently they really only have one, even though Marcus Hooker has not been the best tackler and Marcus Williamson has had some issues. But I think just the coverage breakdowns, if they can eliminate that, that would be a huge thing. And see if anything else pops up after that.
Now, there has been a lot of weird stuff that has happened this year. I mean, I think we can all think of, 30 to 40 things this year that was like, wow, that was insane. I cannot believe that really happened. But I'm just going to give you the weather forecast for Champaign, Illinois on Saturday at the end of November. Ready? 46 degrees, sunny, 8-mile-an-hour wind. When this game was first scheduled, I thought, man, this is going to be like playing. It's going to be like playing inside a colder version of one of those cash tornado machines, like just wind blowing every direction all at once, snowing sideways, 15 degrees. Nope, 46 and sunny, and basically no wind. So with the standard concerns about playing a game in Champaign out of the way, how good can the Ohio State offense be? I mean, this seems like it's setting up pretty nicely to be a good bounce back game for Justin Fields.
Yeah, and he's going to be wired to produce better than he did last week, and certainly you would expect him to. And with the wind being what it is, and dry and sunny, the conditions are there for Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave to have a big game, as they normally do. I'm not sure Illinois' run defense is going to be able to contain Master Teague or Trey Sermon, and so then you get a balanced offense, which makes them even more dangerous. And yeah, I think the Ohio State offense is going to be fine. We'll be able to do whatever they want. The thing about Illinois, though, is they force turnovers, and they force a lot of turnovers, and they take advantage of just the ball is in the air. Somehow they come up with it. Somehow they recover fumbles that other teams don't, and they're around it, and they teach it and they coach to that. So that's something to watch out for this week, and see if Ohio State can avoid those mistakes, because really that's the only way Illinois is going to be able to win this game. And even though they blew out Nebraska last week, they did that on the back of a number of forced turnovers. And if Nebraska doesn't turn the ball over in that game, it's much closer, and it may even go the other way. So Ohio State just has to take care of the ball. And as I say many times, end each possession with a kick. Thank you, Captain Tressel.
Yeah, that's punting is winning. Punting may actually be winning in Champaign on Saturday. Tony, thank you for joining us. We will have much more coverage of this game all on Saturday. Our usual pre and post game shows. You can find those at BuckeyeScoop.com, and also on the Buckeye Weekly podcast feed. We'll have our post game show, instant reaction show there. If you were wondering, we did not get a chance to do a opposing beat writer show this week to preview the Illinois game. Alex Gleitman, one of our recruiting analysts, his Around the Oval podcast, he actually did one this week. So he's got you covered there. So just search Around the Oval on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, all those good podcast places. you can find that episode. Great conversation. A lot of good information in there if you want to get a little bit more of a deep dive on the Illini there. And like I said, we will have a lot of coverage of this Ohio State-Illinois game all weekend at BuckeyeScoop.com. Today is Black Friday. Don't go out to the malls. Just tell your loved ones, look, just give me a membership to Buckeye Scoop. It's all I want for Christmas. You can make it my Christmas present and my birthday present. And, like my St. Patrick's Day present too. Like just all of it, all in one. Get me a membership to BuckeyeScoop.com. It is truly the gift that keeps giving all year round. Thank you guys for joining us. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. We will talk to you Monday.